Hey honey, watch day Midguard. My name is Michelle from Thor Wants Another Letter, and today we are going to be filming my September and October wrap-up. So in the month of September, I barely got any reading done. I was planning on participating in the Avatar The Last Airbender readathon, and I had like 8 books on my TBR. I started out strong. I read like 20 pages of each book, and then I kind of fell into like a depression, you could almost say. I just was like playing Skyrim all the time, and I wasn't really watching any TV or like anything else, and I was just kind of like zoned out. And like, yeah, I did my chores and everything, but as for everything else, I just kind of didn't feel like it. And when it came to reading, I also just didn't feel like it. I don't know what it was. We're going to talk about the books that I did finish in the month of September. I got 50 pages into The Wedding Party by Jasmine Guillory, and it was just not what I was looking for at all. I was really excited to read it. I've been reading Jasmine Guillory's books since The Wedding Date, and I read The Proposal. The Wedding Party just wasn't that great. It was a enemies to lovers, Maddie and Theo, and they just like did the do like right away. There was no like build up, and then there was some weird stuff, and I didn't like it. I was like, DNF at 50 pages, not doing it, sorry. And also, like, yeah, there's a lot of food in her books, but there was just like too much food, and it was just not making me feel great, so I stopped. The first one that I finished was I'm Not Dying With You Tonight by Kimberly Jones and Gilly Siegel, and this I rated a 2 out of 5 stars. This book is about these two girls that are at a high school. They're doing one of them is doing concessions, and the other one like orders something, and when a fight breaks out at their school, there's like some racial tension, and a fight breaks out, and so they have to try to escape from the concession stand to wherever. And one of the character is like repeatedly trying to get with her boyfriend, trying to find her boyfriend. He doesn't answer her phone. He's like a total freaking scrub, okay? And she's just so like, I gotta find my boyfriend, I gotta find my boyfriend. And this like white other character is just like, I just want to get home, you know? And I would be the same thing too. I would just be like, you know what? You go ahead on your own. I'm going to figure it out. I just want to go home. And that was the whole part, is just, and then a riot breaks out inside of the city. And so they're trying to navigate through this riot in the city, avoiding cops, things like that. And I just wasn't... I raced through this book like it was the Indy 500. I was just not here for it. 2 out of 5 stars. Never going to pick it up ever again. I'm just done. The second book that I managed to read and finish was Vampire Diaries by Richelle Mead. And this is my first time reading Vampire Diaries. And this was a trip. This was fun. This was a 5 out of 5 star. I read this for the Trashback book club with Carrie the Book Bell, Chandler Ainsley, and Aphrodite Reeds, and this was fun. I watched the live show. I really liked it. I'm probably going to continue on in the series. That is definitely on my priority list for 2020, but I really enjoyed this. I had so much fun. I really enjoyed the bond between Lissa and Rose. I really enjoyed the bond between them. I also really enjoyed some of the vampire aspects and the royal family and all that. And as for the like teacher / student romance, I didn't really consider it that much as a student-teacher romance, considering the fact that he's only like a few years older than her, and things are different in their society. So that's my reasoning right there. Otherwise, I mean, I know some people think it's gross, but I don't see it. All right, so that is the end of September. I read 12 days out of 30 days. I managed to finish 2 books, and I did buy a bunch of books. I gave an average 3-star rating, and my favorite book, of course, was Vampire Academy, because that other book was bad. We're moving on to October. which October was a way better reading month. I switched into a new journal. I've had this journal since May. I was going to put like my TV shows into it and everything, but I didn't stick with it, so I just kind of glued all the pages together, and then I was doing doodles for what I want to do for next year. So I will show you my October spread. Here we go. I managed to finish 6 books. I read 15 out of the 31 days, so almost every other day. I had a 4.3 Avatar rating, and I read 1,750 pages altogether. And so, yeah, and I did buy books last month, yeah, I was really happy about it. So the first book that I managed to finish in the month, I started it on September 28th, and then I finished on the 1st, and that was An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. This was so good. I rated this a 5 out of 5 stars. It's 297 pages. It is a book about a girl. She does craft, and in this world, there's fae and humans. They coexist. But the fae can't do crafts, otherwise they will burn themselves, people's portraits. So there, one day, the Autumn Prince has his painting commissioned, and she paints human sadness in his eyes, and that's a big no-no. So he takes her away in the middle of the night, and shenanigans ensue. I really, really enjoyed this. Some people were like, oh, it's not that good, but I thought it was great. The second book that I read that people also don't like, it's I read from August 2nd to the 4th, and I rated this a 5 out of 5 stars, and that is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. This was great. This was perfect. This was perfect for me to pick up. I loved it so much. It was so fast, because it only took me like 2 days to finish. My husband was reading this. He got to page like 100, I think, when he stopped, and I exceeded that, obviously, by finishing it. But this is about a girl named Audrey Rose. She is a medical examiner. She studies with her uncle, and her father does not approve, but he still lets her do it. And one day they figure out that the Jack the Ripper murders have started, so this kind of circles around that. And so there's historical fiction, there's real events, and then there's Audrey Rose, who is not like other girls, and I love it, because it's like, a lot of people don't like that trope, like, I'm not like other girls, but at the same time, it's like, you know, she does have a sense of style, and she does like wearing certain frilly dresses and things like that. But, I mean, honestly, I'm sorry, but I don't find the idea of sitting down for tea for like 2 hours and having to wear a dress that like cuts off my circulation, and like having to wear a dress that cuts off my circulation, like wearing a corset and sitting down for 2 hours listening to these other girls drone on and on and on and on about who's going to get married, who's going to get engaged, who's sleeping with who, all this stuff, that does not perk my interest. So I would be the perfect Audrey Rose, because I'd be like, nah, I want to hang out with Thomas Cresswell, because he is like devilishly handsome. He's totally rogue. He is, Thomas Cresswell, he could get it, you know? So I don't necessarily know if all girls have to be the same, because we're not, okay? Some of us are weirdos. Some of us are like beachy aesthetic, and some of us like pastel. Some of us like different things. Some of us, you know, say and I oop like all the fucking time. But you know what? There's weirders like me that like serial killers and crime and looking at grotesque pictures on the internet. So, you know, you can't blame a girl for being who she is. Then the third book I read in one day, it counts towards my Goodreads goal, and also I was reading it to my son, and that is I Love You as Big as the World by David Van Buren and illustrated by Tim warns, and obviously I rated this a 5 out of 5 stars. This took me less than like 15 minutes to read, but there's these illustrations. They're so cute. It's so short, you know, and it's a board book, so it works. I liked it. It was cute. The fourth book that I read, I finally understand why people love Kaz Brekker so much. Me, myself, I'm not really a Kaz Brekker girl. I do like him. Don't get me wrong. Don't, like, attack me in the comments. Sorry. I understand him. I think that's why a lot of people like him, is because they understand him and the things that he's gone through and, like, his trauma. But I would not want to date the guy. That's a lot of stuff to deal with. I really, really like Inej. Wylan and Jesper, I don't know about them. As for Nina, freaking love Nina. Like, she's annoying as fuck sometimes, but I really like her. And, as for Matthias, he, like, when that first scene where he, you know, with the stuff and, like, that whole thing happened, he could get it. I mean, he's, like, he'd hate someone like me, because, like, the whole, you know, witch hunter thing, it's basically, like, he's basically, like, a Nazi. I mean, he'd hate me, but he could get it. And that is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I read this in, like, a week. Yeah, it was a week. It took me a week to read this. And I was buddy reading with this with Layla Masquerade, so I don't think she read it. I think she said that she read Nevernight first and then. So, but I just want to, like, commend y'all for hyping this book so much, because the hype really paid off, and it took me like 4 years to actually read this, because I think it came out in 15, right? This came out in 2015, and y'all hyped it up so much, so I was like, no, not reading that. No. But at some point, I gotta read the second one, be devastated, be sad, whatever. So that's that. And then the fifth book that I read, I don't have with me, but it is The Prince and the Dressmaker by Jen Wang, and this was so cute. I rated this a 5 out of 5 stars. I saw some people rate it at like 4 and 3, and I'm like, ugh. Okay. I liked the storyline. I really enjoyed the chemistry between the prince and, gosh, did I forget their names already? Wow. Fake fan. Sebastian and Francis had a really cute, like, friendship relationship thing going on. Francis, I felt, was like a little bit, or I mean, Sebastian was like a little bit selfish in the way that he was, and Francis was very headstrong in the way that they both were. So that really kind of, like, when they butted heads, that's what I just thought they were cute. Okay. The last book that I read was My Favorite Half Night Stand by Christina Lauren, and this one I rated a 4 out of 5 stars, but if I had to change my rating now, it'd probably be a 2 out of 5 stars, just because I'm disappointed, honestly, now that I really think about it. This centers around this group of scientists / employees at a college, and their whole point is to try to find dates for this benefit ball thing. And Reed and Millie in the group have, like, been eyeing each other for a while, but, like, they never acted on it, and they never, like, made their intentions clear. And one night they have one night stand, but it's like a half night stand, and then things kind of get awkward. So then they're doing their whole dating, like, their dating profiles, and one of them, Millie, kind of starts talking to Reed secretly as, like, a different person. So, like, there's a little bit of catfishing involved. Their relationship was a lot of back and forth, not telling each other how they felt, not being clear about their feelings, and it was a lot of just, like, just tell them already. Just, like, why don't you just tell them the truth? I really like when people are honest with me, and if Millie was doing the things with me that she was just, like, lying to me, I would not want to deal with that shit. You don't want that kind of dishonesty in your relationship. So this was just not my cup of tea. That was the 6 books that I read in the month of October. I had a lot of fun. So yeah, that was the month of October. Let me know what you guys read. Let me know what you guys enjoyed. Is there anything that you read that you were also disappointed by? And I hope y'all are having a nice day, and you know, stay safe, drive carefully, make good choices, all that good stuff. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.